Right. You see the screen?
Yes, we do.
Wait for the recording to start.
I think it's recording already. Maybe we have to
Okay?
edit it later. Just
Okay,
this.
that's fine.
Yeah, this will go.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I am presenting today on SQL, or Structured Query Language, or as it's often called, just SQL. This is one of the many logos. This is for SQL Pro. I just like it the best because it's pancakes and syrup. For this presentation, I will be showing SQL Ace, but they all use the same coding language. They just have different formats of allowing you to interact with the language. All right, so in our lab, we use SQL for everything, basically, all of our coding. These are four of the big ones that I've used SQL for, so MIMEDB, HMDB, FoodDB, and PathBank. SQL is mainly used for database administration, analysis, or data analysis and manipulation. For this presentation, I'll be mostly going over analysis and a little bit of administration. So in SQL Ace, once you've logged into the server, you will come to this page and you can write queries here. You can run the query, but you can't really interact with much else until you choose a database. Once you've chosen a database, say PathBank, it will still be on the query screen, but you will be able to choose from a list of tables in alphabetical order. Once you've chosen a table, say pathways, then you can switch over to the content page, which will give you this table that has all of the information from the pathway table. Their names, description, all of those sorts of things. Also at the bottom here, you have how many rows are in this table, which is quite a lot. To scroll through and find what you're looking for would be quite difficult. So instead of that, you're going to want to return to the query and write a query to find exactly what you're looking for. So in order to write a simple query, you start with select. You often do it in all caps just to differentiate from the other words, so it's just easier to read. It doesn't need to be in all caps, it's just easier to read. So select, and then you list the column names here from the table name, where the column name is equal to some value ending in a semicolon. For select, you can specify which columns, or you could put an asterisk, which denotes all of the columns in that table. And if you're going to put column names, then you separate them by commas. After from, that's just your table. And then where, you can just do a simple equals, or you can do an and if you want more than one condition, or to get either or condition, or not if you don't want that condition to be true. Null is where if the condition, or if the value is blank, you write null, or not null if you want it to give you none that are blank conditions. A quick note on primary and foreign keys. In each table, you're going to have a primary key, which is a unique value for each row or record. It just gives it a way to differentiate between the rows if they have identical values, all of those sorts of things. And then a foreign key will be the primary key, but on another table, so that you can link between the two tables and get data for both tables at the same time. So now for a more complicated query, you can start adding more on to just the simple select from and where. A join allows you to join two tables with that foreign key and primary key. Distinct, you will put this before the column names, and it will give you only distinct value of that column so that you're not getting repeats of the same column or of the same rows. Count will give you a total count of what you're asking for so that you can see it at the bottom, but this just gives you an immediate count rather than the rows of information. An average only works for numerical values. I haven't used this one as much in the lab, but it can be useful every once in a while, just to average out the total of whatever records you're looking for. Order by will go at the end after the where you can determine if it's ascending or descending. Ascending will be in alphabetical or numerical order, and descending will be in like Z to A sort of order. And then you can also at the end limit with a number, and that will, if you don't want 227,000 things, you can get a limit so it only gives you the first 10 or something like that. And then instead of equals, you can put like in or regexp. It will replace an equal sign when you don't want an exact value. When you use an equal sign, it has to be the exact value or you'll get nothing in return. For like, you will put either a percentage sign or an underscore. Percentage can be 0, 1, or multiple characters in place of it. An underscore can only be one character. So an example of that would be where the table pathways, their name, is like cardiolipin. So the name of the pathway could have cardiolipin anywhere inside of that name. If you want just for cardiolipin at the beginning, you could remove this percentage sign. If you just want it at the end, remove this percentage sign, and you can put it anywhere in the middle of the word as well. For in and regexp, they can search multiple values. In is like an equal sign. It has to be exact, but if you're looking for 100 values like HMDB IDs, then you will use in to find a bunch of different things. regexp is more like in that you can find a bunch of values, but they don't have to be exact. It will return things that are similar to them. So here's some example queries. So from MIMEDB, you can select all from metabolites where the name is indoxyl sulfate and export equals 1. This will return a specific, just indoxyl sulfate. But if you want, say, just 3 columns and you want a few more values, you will select from these where it's like sulfate, and that will return every metabolite in MIMEDB that has sulfate somewhere in its name. For PathBank, a similar thing, but here we used an in and a join. So we join, and then you have to use on to specify the foreign key and the primary key so that it knows how to join these two tables. And then that's where it's in one of these 3 in parentheses. And then it will return these 3 pathways IDs for with this information. Now, often in the lab, in order to have our data show on our sites, we use Ruby on Rails, which connects through Active Record to our SQL databases. So here is an example, which it's just a lot of words and coding, I know, so I will try to make this make a little bit more sense. First, in Active Records, you change the column name slightly so that it is a two capital letters, you remove the underscore, and you remove the S at the end. So it's health effect instead of health effects. Then it's dot joins, so there's no spaces in Ruby on Rails, except for here. But in the query, there will be no spaces while there is spaces down there. This will join, how this joins is set in another file. So this joins to this one. And then that's what that is telling Ruby on Rails to do, is do that join. And then this join does this. And in this case, you can see that instead of just specifying a table, I went in through and wrote the query out, which is always an option in Ruby on Rails in the parentheses. Then we go where, and that's this where down here. And then in Ruby on Rails, in SQL, you cannot have more than one where. You have to just put and, but in Ruby on Rails, there is no and, so you just put another where. So this where export equals 1, is just this one. Pluck or select is this up here, the select and parents. Select also works for that. Unique is distinct. Reject blank is going to be is not null. And sort is going to be your order by ascending, so that it gives it to you in alphabetical order instead of whatever order is in SQL. So the big differences, instead of where, you can use find by. It only works if you are looking for a specific one record rather than multiple. Where will give you an array of records that you can look at and display, while find by will only give you one. Join is the same thing. It's still just to join tables together. Pluck or select is like the select in SQL, but it goes near the end, as you saw, rather than at the beginning. Unique is like distinct, also goes at the end of the query rather than the beginning. Reject blank gives you no null values, and sort is your order by. And that's everything. Anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Ray. Very detailed presentation.